Mooladhara Chakra. And Mooladhara Chakra, the aspect of Mooladhara Chakra are food, security and shelter. The basic element corresponding to Mooladhara Chakra is earth element. It shows the nature of Mooladhara Chakra person. And some people are born at different levels. Each and every one of us may be born in different levels. And the levels are determined on the basis of which element is active at the time of birth of a child. And there are two views. I'm going somewhere else actually. There are two views. One, at the time of conceiving the baby, what was the element which was in vogue at the time in the mother is the corresponding element, active element for the child. That is one view. There is another view. It says that at the time of birth of the child, what was the element which is active, giving birth, and in that process, what was the element which was in an active state of the mother, as well the breath that takes by the child as soon as the infant comes out, and which is the element which is active at that time. Depending upon that, the trait of the person, the baby, will be determined. So we have all the elements which are coming in turn, like I have been discussing, like earth element for 20 minutes, water element for 16 minutes, fire element 12 minutes, air element 8 minutes, and the ether element 4 minutes. If a child is born at the earth element, the child will be very pragmatic, like it can be a big businessman, very pragmatic, not concerned with other things. And if a child is born at a time when the element water is active, that boy will be an artist, can be an artist, very much in the artistic way of thinking, and very creative, very imaginative. That is the nature of the person who is born at the time when the water element is on. Then the fire element is on. That is the time when the child is born. He will have the trait of an intellectual. He is always rationalizing everything. Will be immensely active, rich with his intellectual potential. Intellectual being. And then air element is active at the time of birth. Then the person will be very compassionate, and he is the person who is doing something for the world as a compassionate person, making ashrams, temples, preaching, doing organizations for helping people, and this is the nature of air element. Then ether element, when it is active, the person will be not connected with all these things. That child could be either imbecile or may have some mental disorientation, or maybe a great swami. So the bottom is he is at the brim, because totally disconnected from the normal world. And sannyasi is also like that, and totally uprooted, no connection with the person having some mental special way of seeing things, can be a little imbecile or maybe a great spiritual person. So when that is an idea which is proposed. These are the different schools of thinking. And then coming back to Mooladhara, when the earth element is dominant, in every hour it will be dominant 20 minutes unless we are stuck in that element. A person gets stuck in that element because of his occupation in that area. He started something very pragmatic, for example, a business or something, his mind will be very much involved in that particular area for a longer period of time than 20 minutes in an hour. Thereby it becomes his personality, it becomes his trait. And so there are people whom you see also, they are basically very pragmatic, very much looking for material comforts, welfare, bodily pleasures, comforts, and that is the main thing for them. The Muladhara Chakra person is such a person. And then it doesn't mean that he cannot come out of it. If he wants to really work to get out of that, he can get out and go. And that is the work which spirituality is offering for everybody. If you are stuck somewhere, there is always room for you to work out and get over that. And allowing all the different elements come into play in every hour. Sometimes it cannot work. Then there is some kind of the person gets stuck somewhere. And then even if a person tries to push him out of it, he goes back and stays there because it is the area which is very familiar for him and he feels comfort in that area because he was born with that domination of element. That particular element dominated at the time of his birth. And so there are, spirituality says like that. So we are all not the same people, we have different interests in our life. That is simply because of this fact of the particular composition at the time of the origin of the child. The origin can be the time of conception or maybe at the time of delivery. This is the idea. Then Muladhara Chakra, the basic diagram is a square surrounded by a circle and then 4 petals. The left petal is inscribed with the sound Vam, the bottom is Sham, then this one is Sham, and the top one is Sam. These are the 4 sounds for practice. And then comes the details in the square. The square is representing the earth element, and that is being carried by an elephant. And the elephant is called Airavatam. Airavatam is not an ordinary elephant, it is a celestial elephant, a divine elephant which has 7 trunks. It is an idea, imaginative idea to portray certain facts. Our body, the elephant represents the body. Body is composed of 7 aspects: Raja, Rasa, Rakta, Mamsa, Asti, Maja and Medas. These are the 7 components of the body. So by showing the 7 trunks of the elephant, it indicates that the elephant is the body itself. So its body is carrying certain principles inside the body. So it is representing the elephant in this picture, in the 2-dimensional picture, it is like that. If you make a model, a different model, the elephant is staying under and the platform is on top of it, the square is on top of it. So the elephant is carrying this element, it is upholding it, keeping it on top. And then there is a control deity, and that control deity is the Ganeshwara or Ganapati, Lord Ganesh. And Lord Ganesh is having a big head of an elephant and the body of a human, and which indicates that the body is controlled by the big head, which is your rational brain. So that is represented by the big head of the elephant. And then it has a big belly, which indicates that the affinity with food, and the base chakra is surviving on food. So here the elephant represents the affinity with food. It is an voracious eater. It is one of the land animals, it is the biggest eater. It can eat quite a lot. And so the affinity with food is the base of our body, that is represented by the celestial elephant and also the control deity, Ganesh. The control deity has certain things in his hand, Chammati in one hand, that is hatchet in one hand, and in the other bottom hand, he has the rope. So hatchet represents controlling the body. Body can go in search of its fulfillment of its passion. And the Vasakara person is actually driven by bodily pleasures and comforts. If the body is driving the person to go for bodily pleasures and comforts, he can get entangled there, and thereby he may not be able to go to further development, and so that needs to be controlled. The control deity Lord Ganesh is having hatchet for controlling the elephant. ഇല്ലേ? എന്താ പറയുന്ന ആ സാധനത്തിന് നമുക്ക് മലയാളത്തിൽ പേരുണ്ടോ?
ചമ്മട്ടി.
ചമ്മട്ടി.
ചമ്മട്ടിയാണ്.
ചമ്മട്ടി. അപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ ഇങ്ങനെ പോക്ക് ചെയ്യുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് അത് അവിടെ ഗെറ്റിലായിട്ടത്. And then there is if that control is not working, then the rope is there. With the intellect, you tie with the will, you tie the elephant and get under control. So the bodily pleasures and comforts can be okay for some time, but if a person is obsessed on that, it needs to be controlled, and that control is indicated by the chamati, which is the hatchet, and the rope, which is in the hands of Lord Ganesh. Then on the other hand, he is keeping laddu, which is sacred food. It is considered as a sacred food, which is the food for transformation, which is an alchemic idea that there is something in the nature that the practitioner needs to search and find out, and if you consume that, your body will be transformed into this higher plant, which is light. This is an alchemic idea, and that is indicated by the laddu which he is keeping on his hand, one of his hands. And then with the other hand he is showering blessing. So when a person is aware of all these faculties which is there, how to control the bodily instincts, and when that is understood, certainly you are blessed, and you can go ahead and you can explore and go further with your spiritual exploration. And that is what is shown by the elephant and the control deity Ganesh. Then there is a masculine deity and a feminine deity. The feminine deity is called Dagini, and Dagini is seated on lotus. That means all the deities are seated on lotus and Kundalini pictures, and that indicates the deities are staying in purity. They don't have conflict. They have mastered how to get over the conflict, and that is represented by the state of purity, and they are seated on state of purity, that if a person gets into that level, he will be with no conflict. That's the state of purity with which he can go further. And then the deity is having only one head in this picture. As you are ascending from chakra after chakra, the heads are added to it. In the second chakra, there are 2 heads for the deity, third chakra 3 heads, four, and fifth chakra 5th, and chakra 6 heads. And so the added faculties are shown by the number of heads. And here in the base chakra, it's the base stage, and so there is only one head. When you come to the second chakra, Ragini having 2 heads. And so, and she is seated on the lotus, and then she has one head only in this chakra, and upholding a skull. Skull represents detachment, and also indicating that whatever you do, even if you are driven by passion, be alert and vigilant that the body is a mortal principle. At the end, it becomes like a skull. So, when you are driving yourself for this kind of things, not understanding what is the essence of life, certainly you will miss. So remember that this is the body, and the bodily pleasures that comforts are not the ultimate thing. Ultimately, you are a mortal being. So remember to fix